everybody. So, previously on New Horizons, let's see, we did some mid-session planning, role-playing with Reese, met a feisty grandma, had some uncomfortable telepathic chatting, and Saoirse asked after the wounded resistance, much to Nero's appreciation.
That's a good
Uh,
recap.
Danielle and I powered through the flu. Forgotten about that. Uh, hmm, hmm, Arson monkeys. That's all I need to say
Yeah.
there, I guess.
Yep.
And there was a bit of role playing with Tom at the end, the Nero's description of the meeting, and
Hmm.
Saoirse had a turn being pressured into flirting with an NPC for the party's gain.
Oh my word.
Yep.
Not really pressured, but anyway, I think that about covers it. Any points that were missed?
Rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, yep.
True.
Did we do that again?
Was that? I think that was from the previous session.
Oh, was that
Yeah.
from the previous? Oh, okay. No, my
Yeah.
bad. We didn't finish our game though.
Oh yeah, we were at a tie, weren't we?
Uh huh.
You in fact did not.
Oh, and the sneaky unicorn cakes too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Wow.
Sorry. That was I passed you that. Apologies.
So you all find yourselves back on the ship.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
because we decided not to interfere with the Tabukans in that on that local level. We
mhm.
decided it would be more hassle for the local resistance than help if we got involved.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, Tabuk is content to kind of ignore them. But if we were to start attacking tanks and actually doing something that made a difference, they'd probably come in hard.
I wouldn't say, at least the way they characterized it, wouldn't have been so much that they're willing to ignore them, but yeah, they're definitely willing to take it slow and try to be careful uh, in rooting out the remainder of the resistance. And you were concerned that making a bigger show of it would definitely bring down the hammer.
All right. Ben, I had a question.
Mm-hmm.
So on my committed effort for the day, um, do I get that back at this point, or have we not finished with the day?
I have not finished with the day yet. I'm
Okay.
basically the way I. It hasn't come up a bunch yet, but that would typically be recovered when you rest for the night. Um, if for some reason you're just going like straight through with no rest, we might consider how it would how it would look in that situation. But yeah, not hasn't become a concern yet.
Okay. I'm just wanting to make sure that I know when I get my effort back since
Yeah.
it's been committed.
Let's see. So let's see. It is pretty late when you guys get back, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, you guys got back pretty late at night. Do you want to go ahead and rest for the day, or do you want to go ahead and power through the night?
What do you guys want to do?
Well, we have to hike back to the ship, is what you mean.
I think that's what it means. Is that when we finish that, we're it's the night, right? Or did I mishear that?
When you get back to the ship, it is night,
Okay.
roughly 10
Well,
p.m.
I think Cade would head to his bunk regardless of what the others do. He'd just be like, "I walked all day. Bye."
It's probably a good idea not to
Yeah,
try
no.
going out in the dark anyways.
Saoirse would tell Cade to get enjoy his beauty rest.
Thanks. Maybe you could borrow one of my masks sometime, boss.
Hmm. Is that a subtle dig I detect?
Oh, not subtle dig. That is an outright dig.
That was not subtle.
There was no subtlety there. It's about as subtle as a
Right
warthog.
across the bow.
Shots fired. Seems it might take some time for Cade to yeah, be restored to his usually pleasant demeanor.
When was that ever? His usual demeanor.
Have you been running the same game we've been playing?
We've been in the same game, right? Robert, am I wrong to think that this is just part of their relationship?
Oh, you're not wrong.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. I was like,
Yeah, no.
pretty sure they just do this all the time.
Very
No,
much sibling style.
Though the
Yeah.
emotions behind it may be different at this point.
I was being sarcastic, but it does seem like that the tension has not dissipated
barbs.
as much as it.
The
Yeah.
barbs have sharpened maybe a little bit,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or grown in number.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
not your
you-
imagination.
All in a day's work.
No, you go so far as daddy issues say he's gonna up his ante.
Oh yeah, and that's been
For a
that's
while.
been, and that wasn't just
Yep.
that it got mentioned. That has been mentioned multiple times at this point.
Oh yeah.
I think it got mentioned last session. So yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
definitely that that Saoirse continues to needle.
Oh yes. Yes, she does.
That is Saoirse's state of existence.
Oh yes. I'm one walking needle.
Sounds
Only
like the
one.
party.
Only one.
It's like the crew is going to.
Can't claim more
Turn
than that.
into
I'm
a
not that
needle.
talented.
And presumably fly out in search of the resistance's leader in the morning hours.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Okay.
Nero is up unreasonably early.
I know she's. Oh yeah. Wait, was I supposed to? Oh dear. All right, Saoirse's gonna. Is she trying to be careful getting up to not wake Saoirse, or is she just like, I'm up, I'm doing
No,
pull-ups.
I think she basically her morning routine, at least this morning, probably fairly typical of her, is she's gonna get up, wake up, kind of try and sleep some more, and then realize that she's really bored and there's just it's really boring just laying there. So she'll be
Mhm.
looking around, and finally,
Okay.
after 15 seconds, she'll get up and she'll be quiet. She'll not stomp around or announce herself, and she'll leave their joint room, and then say maybe 2, 3, maybe 5 minutes later,
Where is this?
that's a ball being thrown against some wall on the ship.
Oh my stars.
Yup.
Unknown program check.
What?
Now I'm curious.
Does she find a second smuggler's soul? Uh, question.
Your spidey senses are tingling.
I have a question for you.
Hmm.
One, have we gotten rid of the bodies yet on our ship?
No, you have
I
not
was gonna
gotten
No.
suggest that now might be a good time
I was
to
thinking
bury
now might be a good time. Yeah, to bury the dead, yes. And then two, would it be feasible for Saoirse to create a telekinetic a tangible force construct around Narrow?
She'd have to get up out of bed to do that. She's on the other side of the door.
Oh yeah, yeah. If
Can
there's a door
try.
blocking vision, then yeah, that would
Yeah,
be a
no,
problem.
Nara's not insensitive. She's not throwing a ball against the
Oh
wall
yeah, not
in the room.
insensitive. Oh my word.
Is it against the door?
No, it's against a wall.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're gonna have to
A
put it
wall.
on the map.
Okay, hang
Show
on.
us where. Show us where.
I'm making myself.
Why is this dude? Why is he there?
Which one?
Shouldn't be
Oh.
here.
No, not anymore. Victor was
Where's
taking a
it?
shower.
I don't even see my my token.
Your token was not.
Oh,
returned
you're
to
over under
position.
Urala.
Oh,
All right.
says brother Nick, I think.
Brother Nick's in two places at once.
Since when has he been able to clone himself?
I think Nara's probably here and throwing this way against that wall. 20 feet? Yeah. Seems pretty good.
Oh my.
Or is she maybe teaching Tom to play toss across with the ball?
Play wall ball.
If Tom wants to. if
I imagine him like watching amusedly, like, what? This is what you do for fun?
What time is it again when she starts doing this?
not like unreasonably early. Probably
Oh, okay.
6 or so. You said that we got back at 10, right?
6.
Yeah, everybody went to bed probably around 10:30 or 11.
Don't
Yeah.
be reasonably, unreasonably early.
Yeah.
6 a.m.
She has a lot of energy.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I think it would be interesting, Ben, if you had us all just make a check to see if we sleep through it or not.
Fine by me. What kind of do you think that would be a physical save, perhaps?
Survival check.
Survival check. I love that. How
Or
determined
a
are you to
mental
get?
save.
I could see any of those. What do you think, Ben? Just whatever works for you. Oh no, brother Nick's morning prayers are suddenly interrupted by a.
Yeah. Let's see. Anyone who's sleeping. Give me a survival check. Why not? Make it a little bit more varied.
What kind of attribute? Constitution.
Yeah, probably Constitution.
I am committed to sleeping.
That
was Kate. We are grumpy butts united for sleep.
This isn't the first time this has happened, I'm sure. So
we are the Gabuffs, and we will sleep.
Yeah, basically.
All right. Well, fortunately, everyone who's sleeping was worn out enough to stay sleeping through it.
I'm sure Nero would be happy about that. I feel like Dex, for role playing purposes, is disappointed.
No. I actually think it's funny in itself that this has just become normal enough that they can sleep through it now.
Oh man, you'd be surprised what I can sleep through as a parent.
I bet.
I will never forget waking up to Hannah going, "Mommy, look, I'm a rainbow," and just the Sharpie all over her arms. I'm just like, are you kidding me?
Nice.
Victor did not sleep through it. Victor is not used to this.
So the Nero hears the door to her side open, and the thud of heavy footsteps as Victor
It's-
just kind of, he's not regulating his gait at all. He's just stumbling in, bleary-eyed.
It's been a while since he's had to be on a ship with Nero.
Got one hand propped up against the crate to the side. I'm assuming the light is on in here.
You got like the low lights.
I think lowlights, yeah.
Okay. He's still slightly squinting, but he just looks at Nero for a moment.
She catches the ball on its way back and looks over at him. You
What
want to
are
play?
you doing? Do I look like I want to play ball?
No.
Very good observation, Nero. Oh. You realize what time it is?
Nero looks around. No.
He just sighs and throws up the other hand.
Makes a
Yeah.
mental note to raise funds among the crew to buy Nero a watch.
It is something 6 a.m. We didn't get much sleep yet. Could you not sleep, or
I'm awake now.
The most narrow thing to say.
just stares at her?
She looks from him down at the ball. Do you want me to stop?
Yes, please. Surely there's something quiet you could do, or go run laps around the ship or something.
Oh no.
Not like we're trapped in space.
Oh, he's saying outside of the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
That's a completely fair point.
Yeah.
Is Brother Nick where you've placed him, Ethan?
Yeah, I figured he'd be somewhere around there.
Okay. Nero looks at Victor for a moment longer. Okay.
Thank you. He kind of gestures brusquely with his hands and turns around, clomps back into the engineering bay, muttering under his breath.
Nero wanders in to see Brother Nick there. She's still holding her tennis ball.
Say, he'll get up from his prayer mat and say, "Good morning, Nero. I thought I heard you waking up."
She holds up the ball. I didn't think it was that loud.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure there's some people in the Capitol who didn't hear you.
Oh man.
Wow.
That's hilarious.
That's good. That's good.
I have to go out and run around the ship now.
This is my assigned duty. Don't try and get in my way. Does he like gesture at her to walk past or something?
Oh yeah, yeah. No. Well, far from me to keep me from your appointed task.
As she's walking by, she'll pause again. Are you gonna pray for the dead?
Yeah, he'll pause at that and say, yes, every morning, and for the living too.
Why every morning? They need more than one prayer?
He'll ponder at that and say, I think it's more because I need more than one prayer. It's a good reminder to start the day.
You stop praying for them if we get them off the ship? They're starting to stink a little.
I'll pray for them even after that, but yes, this probably would be a good time to get them off the ship before we take off again.
Everyone else is still asleep. Can we do that now?
Yeah, see, I say, I guess now is as good a time as any, and head to the.
I've got so much extra energy, I could really use it burying bodies. Says Narrow every morning as she wakes up and chooses violence.
Is checking that utility closet thing for some kind of shovel or yeah, they're near enough digging instruments.
Yeah, you'd find a shovel and a pickaxe.
Really futuristic looking ones.
Oh, it's up real small.
Lights
This
up.
is just any pickaxe. It's a TL5 pickaxe.
Sorry,
Picks
no,
with the best of them.
no handheld ground displacenators on board.
Oh my. Got our hopes up for nothing, guys.
No, hey,
Yeah.
no need to reinvent the wheel. Need serviceable tools for versatile situations. It made them more lightweight and out of sturdy material, but the age-old engineering design checks out.
And it helps for budget cuts.
Yeah, you guys have not. It doesn't seem like the former crew invested heavily in digging equipment.
Oh, yeah.
They had other ways of disposing of bodies.
Well,
This is the military. He said, well, got to get PT somehow.
yeah, exactly. Digging by hand builds character.
I think Saoirse and Cade are sleeping even more soundly.
Yep.
Inherently, both of them and their aversion to work is just helping them to survive by... I think that's what's really funny about Saoirse and Cade's dynamic, actually, by the way, is that they're incredibly similar to one another. And that's what makes it really funny.
And the beautiful thing about this is Narrow's not going to come back with the sassy, oh, you slept through all the work, did you?
No, she never would. That's what's hilarious, too. And then probably Saoirse would like not admit that she wanted to sleep through the work. She would feel terrible when she finds out she did.
It
Or
would just have been
moderate.
a happy little accident. But
Yeah, basically. I don't know if Cade would admit, "Oh, thank goodness I missed burying the bodies." I don't know.
He probably would.
Okay.
Or he would probably just be indirect and be like, "Great, glad you guys got those out of there." That's it.
They were starting to stink. Moves on.
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah. Your
Not my
problem, not mine.
problem. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeshmo serk, yeshmo malbi. Let's move on.
All right, so do Nero and Brother Nick spend some time together digging holes?
yeah, good way to start the morning. Digging. How many graves is it? 7.
Yeah, 7 graves.
Yeah. Nero
Are
needs
you
no
doing individual
instruction
graves
on
or?
digging graves. She's not exactly a pro at it, but she knows how to dig a grave.
Yeah, that's good. Both of you go ahead and give me exert checks
All right.
with I'm gonna say either Constitution or Strength.
Oh yeah.
I
Nice.
would be surprised, but that's just Nero. And Brother Nick, too, to be honest.
Yep.
Both well rested and
I feel like Brother Nick's the kind of person who would enjoy physical labor.
yeah, they've both had plenty of experience with manual, tedious labor. And they set straight to work. Despite the rockiness of the soil, they put their backs into it, and by the time everyone else is stirring, they have gotten most of the bodies buried.
Actually, I wanted to catch you before you got to that point.
Okay. So they're making
Before,
solid progress on the graves.
yeah, before they actually put any bodies in the graves, Nero pauses and looks over at Brother Nick. Should we let the others say something too?
Don't you dare.
And the Nick, yeah, would pause and lean on his shovel. So yeah, I did mean to at least let Ahmed be here if he wanted to say a few words.
That's who I meant. And the other prisoners.
Uh, Say it's probably too risky to let them out. Though would be nice if get to see their crewmates one last time.
What if we lay the bodies out in front of the graves and bring them one at a time? Yumi and Vicar and Tom. One person isn't going to be a problem.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Unless they start rising from the graves like zombies.
Nero gets a faraway look in her eye, imagining zombies suddenly clashing with ninjas in the mid-morning light.
That's exactly what's happening.
So, yeah. The neck, yeah. We'll have that. Well, barring zombies, I don't see the harm in it.
I'll see if Victor and Tom will come out. You can talk to the prisoners. Think they like you better.
Yeah, so I guess with that, we're saying all the holes are dug, or are we still working?
Yeah, we'll say you've gotten most of the holes dug. You got only 2 left.
Okay. Yeah, so Brother Nick will return to digging, figuring they can run it by Saoirse and the rest of them once they wake up.
I would like to point out this has become Brother Nick's idea to wake up Saoirse and Cade, not Narrows.
No, no, he had the thought that they'll be awake by probably exactly the time the
Wait, so you're
last
just
bit
gonna
of
leave the
the dirt
bodies out in the
falls.
air until then?
Well, they haven't moved the bodies yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still in a vacuumed airlock, so
Yeah,
At least they're
hopefully.
desiccated, I think.
Yeah, I actually forgot that we could just leave them in vacuum as long as they're in that airlock. So Nero still said they're starting to stink, but it was all in her mind.
I think they'd
It's
stay.
all in my head. I'm smelling them over and over again.
I guess they'd stay pretty normal. I guess if they were exposed to space vacuum, that might have pulled some moisture out of them or boiled it off.
Yeah, I hadn't been too interested in getting super sciencey, but I briefly looked
Yeah.
into it and decided I'd rather just go with a simple sci-fi mythological version of what might happen. Um, because some of the some of the actual biology gets pretty complicated and probably messy.
It
I like
holds for a
silencers.
while, although it can. I guess I've heard it can go quick. They had that at the Walmart in Athens. They accidentally dug up and cracked a vacuum sealed coffin
Oh, really? Wow.
when they were building it.
That just sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah, that sounds like the beginning of some ghost story of yeah, haunted Walmart.
If I remember
It was
right,
some unmarked grave, and when they were digging, they hit like it was said like a big old metal cylinder coffin. And
Hmm.
it had been vacuum sealed, so they said the person was like perfectly preserved for the first little bit.
Wow.
and then they pretty quickly start crumbling, if I remember.
Yeah, so I was saying, cause it did sound like Indiana Jones, rapid aging kind of.
Exactly. Yeah. I was gonna
That
That
use
would just be
a
weird.
better adventure movie, but I couldn't remember one. I know that I've seen that kind of situation though, where there's a like a tomb or coffin, somebody's in it, and oh, it was more like a murder mystery type movie. Anyways, we're off topic. So
Talk about desiccated space corpses.
Yeah, I
Nero will go to Victor and Tom and ask if they'd be security.
yeah, by this time, Victor is stirred. She can hear him knocking around in the engineering room. So both he and Tom would accept with no real questioning other than the basic, what for.
Yeah, she gives them a real quick. We're burying the dead people.
Okay. Yeah, Victor would just nod and say that's fine. It's about time to clean that up. And Tom would he would express in her mind that he hasn't witnessed human burial rites. He's heard of them, and he'd been exposed somewhat to Brother Nick's religious stuff that he did for them, but hasn't seen what they actually finally do with the bodies. So, under normal circumstances. So, she senses curiosity from him.
He looks at him for a second and says, "Okay."
So yeah,
I
they'll
guess the
both follow
question would
her.
also be if the Chitari honor their dead or do they eat them? But that's immaterial.
Maybe the muscle tissue and organs liquefy inside the carapace, so they can't
Soup?
really. So they can't really. Oh, gross! I was gonna say so they can't really eat them.
Oh,
No,
boy.
you've
You're
just
welcome.
made it drinkable.
You're welcome.
Like crowd surfing,
I
except
made it worse.
Oh my word! Crowd surfing. Oh my word. Okay. Anyway, moving on. So who did you tell that you're gonna bury them, Tom?
Tom and Victor. I was gonna wait to check in on Cade and Saoirse
I
until
was gonna
after.
say, how at what time? How long did it take them to dig these graves, Ben? Like, what time is it?
Say it took him a couple hours, even going maybe even 3 hours, as well as they did. They got it finished, but it's still laboring under Atmo filters and with rocky soil. So yeah,
And they weren't skipping. I don't think either Nero or Brother Nick would have tried to get away with a shallow grave.
right. Yeah, they're doing it right.
Maybe 6 feet ain't so far down. Okay, so I'm sorry I've gone full bard mode tonight, but it is happening, and I just hope I can entertain you all.
I like it.
Sometimes.
Sometimes I can. Good.
Sometimes you're just scary, but yeah.
That's
I like
all right. It's for the intimidation factor. All right.
Yeah, I
I'm
figured.
gonna say, go ahead.
I was just gonna say. I figured I'd wait until after Brother Nick was able to talk to the prisoners and uh, see how they feel about it. Then Nero could go and talk to Cade and Saoirse. If you're okay with that, Ethan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I guess after the digging, I think Brother Nick want to run it by Saoirse first, not get their hopes up and have her
Good point.
veto.
Ethan knows you got to ask your mom before you ask your friends for the slumber party.
Mom, can me and my
Oh, man.
friends bury 7
All right, so
desiccated
what time is it at
persons?
this?
Like
Definitely
9:30.
Mom, all the other kids are doing it.
All the cool kids were invited. Can't I go?
Their moms
Yeah,
let them do it.
I'm trying really hard not to be dragged down by my tendency
Okay.
toward realism. So yeah, we'll
All
say
right.
we'll say it's 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Okay,
With
then
one.
definitely.
They're
I mean,
master
correct me
grave
if I'm
diggers.
wrong, Robert. I think that Cade and Saoirse would have been at the table with like their breakfast rations and a pot of coffee.
Oh,
Yeah, and they
You just find them
It's
both
probably like-
bleary-eyed.
so they were sitting there when Brother Nick and Nero came in, all dirty and sweaty.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, Kate still got most a cup of coffee and most of an uneaten bar in front of him. It just takes a look at Nero and is like, "What were you guys doing?"
Saoirse's just silent. And she's just taking another sip, and her eyes are like barely cracked open.
Nero looks at them both, digging graves, and then she walks out the door to
For
go
who?
to Victor.
Saoirse
He
just
looks
kind
at
of.
Saoirse like, "What?"
Saoirse is going to telekinetically push the coffee pot to Cade.
And he tops his cup of coffee on.
She's going to telekinesis the coffee pot. She's going to top hers off, and she's just going to go. I'm going to need some more coffee in me before I ask any more questions about what in blazes they were doing digging graves.
I'm worried about whose graves they're digging,
Let's
but
talk
I need more coffee too.
more coffee. And she'll just like kind of cheers the mug in the air and just like start downing her coffee with a little more speed than before.
Yeah, definitely cheers.
I have this idea in my head that I don't think Nero drinks coffee because she's just a walking methamphetamine. Like she would just ascend if she got any more caffeine in her system.
Yeah.
And brother Nick drinks his tea. So I feel like Cade and Saoirse would be the only ones that drink coffee on a regular basis on the ship.
Oh, Brother Nick is having some coffee right now.
Right.
But yeah, you're right, Nero. She doesn't care for those kinds of
Recombobulate.
things.
The perfect way to put
It
it. We are
is.
recombobulating.
Yep, we're definitely combobulating.
Yep. We didn't get a
Yeah, I
chance
guess I'd
to.
give Cade would- Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I guess a tea would probably be his preferred.
Yeah, that's why I said regularly, because I think that brother Nick probably could have it. Like I don't think it's like an asceticism thing, but just that he seems to go for tea more often.
Yeah, with preference. I think coffee was his spacer drink, and tea was his
Preacher man drink.
monk missionary drink.
All right. So do we? I'm thinking Saoirse's just gonna wait for Nero to wander back in.
Oh, Cade's definitely still sitting there eating his nutritional bar and sipping his coffee.
Does Brother Nick interrupt them before Nero has had a chance to talk to Victor and Tom?
Yeah, probably not. I think he's realizing they're still needing to come too.
Okay. And Nero does come back around.
Bodyguards in tow.
She probably would have left a little bit sooner, figuring that maybe that they're getting their things in order. Well, not Tom. He's still naked, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh yeah. So I guess then Victor's probably up and ready. So bodyguards in tow.
Bugman don't need no clothes.
Just stops in the doorway, looks at everyone. What are you waiting for? Sorry, Robert. I saw you typing there a little bit too late for me to pause and give you a chance to finish.
No, you're good. I was just gonna throw in there that Kate grabs a second nutritional bar and kind of waves one in Saoirse's direction in a sort of, you want another one? And
Saoirse blinks for a couple seconds, processing the question, and then nods.
he tosses it her direction.
It actually, I'm gonna say she's not awake enough to catch it.
Oh, I was thinking TK. Okay.
Oh yeah, she'll catch it telekinetically, but kind of like stumble a little bit.
I
Like,
gotcha.
like she flinches a little bit with her face because she's like, ah. And then she gets it.
Sorry. It was probably more of an underhanded toss anyway. He's not trying to hit her in the face. But yeah, he'll kind of turn around and see Nero behind him in the doorway and be like, "What are you talking about, Nero? We are getting started."
She looks at the coffee cups, all three of them.
Yeah.
You need to drink that faster.
Burning my throat isn't a good way to start the day, Nero. Less talking, more coffee.
Nero looks at Saoirse. That her jaw kind of like just not agape, but just lips parted.
What? Cat got your tongue?
Nero rolls her eyes, huffs, and turns around to Victor and Tom. They need 15 more minutes.
Victor shrugs. Fair enough. Tom just clacks.
Tom just clacks.
I mean, Tom has more of the inside scoop. The entire nobody's awake yet. What is this?
Okay.
She
I
comes
think
over.
this is as about as awake as I'm gonna get. She blinks a little bit.
Really?
Were you this dirty earlier?
No.
Have you been digging more graves?
Yes.
Saoirse looks at her coffee cup and she like knocks back the rest of her coffee. Just really quickly like chugs it all.
Oh,
All right.
Bioscion, you can fix the burn. Oh,
Yeah.
Kate will just carry his mug with him. Like, whatever, man. I'm just coming with this.
Where are we going?
Nero looks over to Brother Nick for guidance here.
Who died, Nero?
Wait, are they dead yet, or are you planning on killing someone? Saoirse like shakes the last couple of drops out of her coffee cup and then puts it down on the table.
Ethan, if Brother Nick is gonna catch this conversation, I don't want to interrupt, but otherwise Nero's gotta comment.
Oh yeah, so you can chip in if you want to, but if you got a good one-liner or something.
I wouldn't call it a good one-liner. It's just an answer.
Narrowism.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and with it anyways. It's all the people we killed.
Cade just looks more confused.
Saoirse looks at
We
Cade.
didn't kill anybody.
I
No,
killed a
we
lot of
left.
people.
I'm sorry, has Brother Nick been talking to you about that confessional garbage? Because I don't think we're really the people you need to be talking to about this.
Says someone wears
No,
someone else's clothes.
what?
And she looks
What?
down at her.
Well, you see, mine were all dirty, and this one looked really comfy, and you kind of had it just at the end of your bunk, and I didn't think you'd mind.
It is comfy. And it's okay.
Okay, thanks.
And she just like balls up the sweatshirt, crosses her arms. You all might have realized that Saoirse's, at this point, you would realize Saoirse's clothes look larger on her than normal. And then you realize you've seen Nero wearing these clothes before, and Saoirse has stolen Nero's clothes to sleep in. She's just shuffling around looking like a homeless child in oversized clothing. All right. So,
Alright,
Yeah,
I didn't
brother,
steal nothing, I borrowed. I was going to ask you about it later. And you said it's alright. So, nothing to confess. No offense, Brother Nick.
I'll type on Nero's reaction so that Ethan can get Brother Nick's chip in.
Yeah, so he'd respond to their confusion and say, figured this was as good a time as any to bury the crew members that we've had in the airlock. He thought it might be nice if we could allow the some of the living crew members to be able to see them off.
You want to hold a funeral?
Nothing quite that elaborate, just them a chance to say their goodbyes.
How are they going to be speaking, Brother Nick? I don't understand your meaning.
Saoirse at this point has closed her eyes and looks deep in thought, but you can see she's pinching the bridge of her nose. So presumably her head is hurting because of this.
Yeah, Cade's still too sleepy. He's still kind of thinking of things literally.
Ahmed would come to the door about now and
Of
just
course he would.
poke his head in. I hear you all up.
Of
What's
course
the
you're
plan
bloody
today?
here.
No, they're not up yet.
Great timing. Yes, I'm having an out-of-body experience, apparently. Because in the real world, I know somebody wouldn't be asking me to hold a funeral with my prisoners of war.
While Saoirse is speaking, Ahmed is slowly backing through the doorway. He'd only stepped like halfway through the open doorway, and without saying another word, he's just watching and just slides the door closed, and it clicks. That's about right. The captain seems still opposed to this plan.
They deserve it.
Ah, and I deserve 1,000,000 credits.
Why?
Oh, don't you think I'm just a bright little ray of sunshine? It's a joke.
Nara looks over at Brother Nick and then back. Thought we'd do them one at a time. They won't get anywhere.
Saoirse kind of calms down a little bit when Nero tells her it's going to be one at a time.
Yeah, no, yes, just one at a time, and with the 6 of us, they shouldn't pose much of a threat. And besides, I think they have the right to pay their last respects.
Saoirse is going to look over. Can she see through this doorway? Like, is that an
Wait,
open
which one?
doorway, Ben? Over here.
Yeah, Nora. I imagine Nora probably left the door open.
Yeah, she didn't close it on Victor's face.
All right.
Mhm.
She's going to look over at Victor and Tom. I'm supposing you two are going to help out with this?
They both nod.
She looks back over at Nero and at Brother Nick. And she can see the dirt still on them from what must have been a lot of work. And she sighs a little bit and then she goes, all right, stop my bleeding heart. You can do it. Just make sure it's one at a time. And you, she points over at Victor, I want you to look as scary a bugger as you possibly can.
He puts on kind of an innocent looking attempt of a face. Who, me? Look scary? How could I do this?
Listen, I'm too knackered to joke too much right now, alright? I just want to make sure none of these folks are legging it out into the countryside. And then we're one down. Now, might be best for them, but they're not going to have atmo filters for long down here by themselves to think they're all careful and they're capable. And I don't want any other bodies to be on our hands. And she's going to look at Nero and at Brother Nick. So we need to make sure they're under lock and key. And we do this quick and carefully. And please, please, when it's all said and done, take a shower. You're filthy manky. And she's gonna go turn around and open the door where Ahmed is and go to talk to him.
Okay. She finds him all the way back up in the cockpit. He's just sitting in the chair, and when the door opens, he sneaks a glance over his shoulder and then slowly turns the chair around.
Oi,
Yes,
take
Captain.
that puss off your face. It's alright.
He just stares at her, looking kind of unsure about what to do with his face.
Relax. Looking thick as a plank. I'm just trying to tell you I'm not here to chew your head off. I'm sorry you walked into that.
Kind of slowly nods and says, "That's all right." Early,
Now
I
listen,
suppose.
Brother Nick and Nero have dug graves for some of your fallen men in arms. And they would like to let you all have a bit of a last goodbye. And so they're going to be letting you go out one at a time, say your last farewells once the bodies are out there and before they bury them. I need to tell you this now.
Yes.
because you might not get the chance later. I'm very aware this is going to be our first time off this ship since we've taken over. Don't make me regret making the promises I have.
Of course not.
Oh,
Appreciate it. Just wanted to make sure we were on the same page. Now I'll let you have some time to yourself, gather your thoughts before you say your goodbyes. Let me know if you need anything.
Thank you. I will.
All right. And then Saoirse's gonna leave. When she gets back to the kitchen, she'll pick up her dirty dishes and trash and stuff. Is Nero still standing there?
yeah, she's still standing there staring at Cade.
Cade will look back at her. Say, "What? Not all of us just wake up automatically. Some of us need help."
Aye,
How long does it
liquid
take
help.
Good question.
Donkey's ears. Saoirse says without batting an eye.
you? Feels
Or
like
more.
it's been a year.
Don't you have some bodies to be moving? Shouldn't you be cracking on?
Is a donkey's year longer than a normal year?
Saoirse just like rubs her temple real quick. That's the idea, yeah. It's more that it's shorter then. So something that'd only be a year to you is, how many years to a donkey?
A lot.
5.
Thank you for that helpful math. Now bunk off.
Hey, I'm still on coffee truce.
She puts her hands up like I surrender, like I'm not here to cause any problems. Like arms up. Coffee truce still in effect.
Nero will
He'll nod back.
go on over to. There's a way to get the bodies out from here without dragging them to the ship, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Saoirse's waiting to see if anybody will think to ask the telekinetic person to help move the body. She's only she's like, well, Nero might not think of it,
Nope.
and Brother Nick might just be self-inflicting masochistic enough to not.
So, is it a ladder or is it a ramp down?
Hmm. I think it's a ramp.
Yeah, no. Nero just starts carting the bodies down.
Yep. That's what I figured.
Is she
She'll
doing this by
Saoirse,
herself?
she'll
when she
Like
comes
fireman
back.
carry style?
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, hang on. She'll recruit Tom or Victor so that she's not dragging them. So that they can stay in the bags and they're not being dragged, and further damaged or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, they are. They look up when she comes over, and Victor will go with her.
Okay. Sorry, Danielle.
It's all right.
You typing it out?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so Brother Nick has gone to get ready. bodies are being delivered to the graveside.
He'll grab himself one of the thermoses and top it up.
Saoirse refills her coffee. She's like, oh, hold on.
All right, so Saoirse and Cade come out to that side door being opened. The ramp let down. Tom's standing there watching, and Nero and Victor are coming back up the ramp, getting ready to grab a third body.
You know Nara doesn't ask.
Yep, Victor.
I don't know
let
if Victor's
them-
even aware that Saoirse is a telekinesis.
Nope.
I was actually just thinking he's seen her do bio psionics, but he
cryopsionics.
hasn't. I don't know if he's seen her do telekinesis. I can't remember.
I don't
Don't-
think so.
think so.
Has he seen the hamster wheel?
I was trying to remember.
I think the crew referenced it at one point, but I don't think it's actually come up in play.
Yeah, I'm not saying it has to be a secret. I'm just saying I'm not sure if he knows to ask.
Yeah, not enough about it. So he'll notice them and give a nod to both Saoirse and Cade, and then continue doing the work.
Cade will be more polite than saying things like a little more to the left.
That's good. Tom would turn to them and ask both of them in their heads, have you been to one of these events before?
Cade will think back several times.
Saoirse just takes a sip of coffee. Is Cade saying that out loud, or is he responding?
Nah, he just kind of thinks it back at
Okay, cool.
Tom.
Saoirse
like,
is blissfully unaware of
meh.
this conversation happening.
I mean, Cade's basically nonplussed. Like it's basically this is normal, but nobody enjoys it really. Would be
Gotcha.
the sense that Tom gets from him.
Okay. Yeah, Tom doesn't ask anything else. He just says thank you. Does Cade respond to Saoirse's question?
Yeah, he'll just shrug and say, I guess it's just coffee now.
All right. I assume once Brother Nick's ready, he's going to go and get Ahmed.
Yeah, so come out through the common area and then go to speak with Ahmed.
Okay. Yeah, Ahmed is. He's sitting lost in thought when Brother Nick comes in, and he ends up inferring purpose and is ready to follow once all the bodies have been delivered to the gravesides, Victor and Tom will both head back to retrieve prisoners. I- If I'm remembering correctly, somebody had said one at a time.
I
Mhm.
think that's what Brother Nick is doing right now, isn't it?
That was what Saoirse had specified.
Well,
Yeah.
he was gonna get.
Yeah,
Oh,
I guess
including
first
Ahmed as
letting
one of the one.
Ahmed know. I'm guessing let him be out there.
Yeah, it sounds like Saoirse was treating Ahmed as a one at a timer also.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay, got you. Good to know.
Unless Brother Nick made an argument about maybe Brother Nick and Ahmed being able to work together to try and use this as a way to get the
Hmm.
prisoners to flip sides. Like, not, I don't mean that, I guess, in like an underhanded way, like in a trying to be emotionally manipulative, but if he thought that Ahmed might be able to make a case to his fellow Sons of Glory to say like, hey man, like these are good people. Us dumping genocidal genetically engineered aliens on this planet was wrong. But here's an example of them being good people. Maybe you should consider helping them. They're going to try and help us, not be murdered on sight. So, I don't know. I'm just like spitballing here out loud. So if I feel like Brother Nick is someone who thinks, I mean, he is our
Pragmatically.
social engineering person. Yeah. Brother Nick got big
Our
brain. Okay.
programming
So
person.
our social engineering person. So I feel like he could have feasibly thought of that. So that's up to Ethan, on if Brother Nick would have wanted to do something like that. I'm just putting that out there as a player.
Yeah, giving that, I guess something along those lines. I'd thinking his or Brother Nick's further follow up if for all of the or for any of the prisoners being able to go was kind of along those lines that they're needing to get these guys to be cooperative, and this is a good step towards that.
How do you guys want to handle that that part of it? I was asking because I had not. It sounds like I had kind of misunderstood the intention there as of Ahmed being part of that. Um, is that does that suffice, Danielle, or would you want to have some more discussion about that?
I'm sorry, one more time.
Like what Ethan's saying that Brother Nick would have tried to make a case for that. Do you want to just
I
make?
think if Brother Nick made, yeah, he doesn't have to do it in character, if that's what
Okay,
you're
yeah,
saying.
that's what I was trying to get at. Is that out of character decision good enough, or do we need to
Yeah, I think
make more?
that's fine if we just say he went to Saoirse
Okay.
and said, I think that we could use this to our advantage.
Okay, so Ahmed will be present at the graveside for each one of the actual prisoners being brought out, but he'll be given a different treatment than them. Okay. Right then, so is Brother Nick's plan to pretty much perform the same set of rites or little speech, whatever he has planned for each one of the prisoners being present? Have kind of four identical little ceremonies, and then finally do the actual burying after they've made their visits.
Yeah, I guess the similar.
Okay. Well then, we'll not. Well, I'll not make you do it 4 times. Um, and if you don't actually want to do it in character, that's fine too. But go ahead and so give us what you're going for, and we can handle it one time as though it were kind of encompassing all 4 of the little visits. If that makes sense.
Okay. Like brother Nick, he'd have kind of one of those swinging censers of incense,
Mm.
and he'd have that as they lead each prisoner out and go over to the grave sides. And then it's after positioning the prisoner, go over to the opposite side of the grave, and first from that, kind of take sticks of incense, light them, and set them at the heads of the graves. He'd repeat some of the prayers that he had done initially, the Tabukan prayer, and then his own Church of the Sky one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, invite Ahmed to give a few words if you wanted to.
Okay. Yeah, Ahmed would he would have just a couple sentences to give to contribute to it. He would just say, these all died serving their country, so they believed, to the best of their ability, to the end. May they find glory beyond, and may that of Tabooks be theirs as well.
And with that, Brother Nick would nod, and it's during each time out, you have to scoop up a handful of earth into the graves, intoning the dust of the body returns to the earth, the light of the spirit belongs to the stars.
Saoirse nods. Like, sounds pretty good.
Cade has a mildly dark look at the comments about the glory of Tabuk and the deaths of the soldiers, but holds its tongue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he would recognize that as a pretty standard way of sending off, particularly Tabukan soldiers. There's usually something of that in uh, the rites of the what are they called? The Tabukans in general.
Yeah, I think he would be thinking about their service to the Sons of
Mhm.
Glory over the service to Tabuk.
Right. Yeah,
So he would be
exactly.
frowning at the the subtext, not
Mhm.
necessarily
The implication
what
that they
was.
had served Tabuk's glory
Yeah.
in what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. think here. Give me a perform check from Cade, if you would.
Perform charisma.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think I hit the right one. Okay, yeah.
Looks like it.
Did you mean to do notice or?
I did not.
Okay.
So I was just gonna say that Cade is able to read between the lines, and with the brief conversations he's had with Ahmed already, uh, those comments seem not to completely jive with the way Ahmed has talked about his take on the Sons of Glory and the whole situation.
Gotcha.
Because they'd had a decent bit of time together in the cockpit. Say that's fair
Yeah.
for him to have been able to see through that.
Yeah. Makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm. And as far as the reactions of the prisoners, each one of them gives a salute, fist across their chest, during the recitations that Brother Nick and Ahmed both make. And it's difficult to see how they are affected necessarily, except that in the case of Corporal Saida, there are there are tears streaming down her face by the end of it, though her expression overall is stony.
Stone cold.
And with that, unless there's anything else that anyone wants to contribute, the short and sweet ceremonies are concluded. Bodies are ready to be buried.
When they are done with the last of the people who have had their chance to say their goodbyes,
Mm-hmm.
Saoirse is going to ask Victor to take them back to their cell along with Tom, or to escort them back to their cell along with Tom.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's going to walk up to Nick, and maybe she'll have nodded at Cade to follow her. And
You
she'll
will.
try and get together with Brother Nick and Nero, standing next to the freshly covered graves, or maybe as they're beginning to cover the graves. We need to have a talk. As a team. I'm not here to tear your lips off or anything.
Okay. What?
Has Ahmed gone back inside? Or was Ahmed inside already?
No, he's standing off to the side. He got the hint that you guys were looking to have a little powwow.
She'll take a deep breath, and then she'll say, Ahmed asked me to please try and make an appeal for mercy towards our prisoners when we meet up with the Uralian resistance. I personally think that they could be excellent bargaining chips to get Tabuk to back off, especially if the Sons of Glory are as deeply embedded as they seem to be. But I need your help in figuring out how to go about doing that. And also, if you're all right with doing that, she's going to kind of flick her gaze over at Cade, she's just knows. And Robert, you can correct me, or Ben, you can correct me if you think this is unlikely. I feel like Saoirse's a little better at telling when Cade is up, something's getting under Cade's skin than most. So she would have been able to see, maybe, even though he appeared to be keeping it together pretty well, that she was connecting the dots, that maybe he's a little bothered by the Sons of Glory thing. Is that acceptable? Or would
Sure.
you like me to make a check?
That's up
I
to
think
you,
she
Robert.
just would have, kind of
I'm
put two
fine
and
with
two
that.
together. Yeah.
I feel like she and Kate are used to irritating each other, so it's not like it would be a surprise that she can read him.
Okay.
Mhm.
So she
Especially
is.
since he was really only trying to hide that from the Tabukan folks, not from the crew.
Okay. She's going to take another deep breath and then kind of plunge on. I understand people make mistakes, but I also understand you don't just stumble into a ship that's going to drop murder on a planet. So I'm a little conflicted, but I like Ahmed. I understand what it's like to be around people making bad decisions, and it doesn't mean they're bad people. Not all of them, anyway. And I just wanted to know your opinions and how you think we can pull it off, if you think we can, or if you think we should. And she's just gonna pause and wait.
I think trying it for Ahmed's sake is worth it. I still view these people as traitors in principle, but anybody can make a mistake. May as well make them into assets if we can.
Aye. Throw the Nick.
I think we should still try to give them a chance. I know what it is to be in service to bad masters. And I'm holding out hope for them. He said, even if it was just for Ahmed's sake and for the sake of Urala, but like to, for even their own sakes, hold out some hope for them.
I appreciate that. Even if I can't quite wrap my head around it, I do appreciate that. All right. And then she's gonna look at Nero. And you?
I need another moment as a player here.
Okay.
Mhm. Decisions.
Nero looks kind of deep in thought. Saoirse's gonna
She does. She
just
looks more
sip on her
thoughtful than
coffee.
usual. Yeah.
Saoirse doesn't want to rush her. Also, she's still wearing Nero's stolen clothing, so she's just gonna like sip quietly. Do not poke the friend whose items I have stolen.
While Dex is thinking about that,
Mm-hmm.
thinking that shortly after all this, the crew is going to be getting ready to make the trip down into the lowlands to try to find the resistance? Or is there
Mhm.
going to be any other stuff you want to do before taking off?
Saoirse would want to sort of fashion some grave markers for the graves. Just something really humble, but like stack some rocks or something, but she wants it to be obvious that
Okay.
this is a resting place for some and
Mhm.
not just some mounds of dirt.
Okay.
Okay, I think I've got it for Nero.
Okay.
She kind of rocks forward a little bit, and she's got that gaze that's like looking distant but down. Like if I were to appeal to the engineers of this group, she's got a 15-degree gaze toward the ground, not toward the sky. And shoot, I forget what I was
Is
gonna
this
say.
15 degrees from horizontal or 15 degrees from
Oh my
vertical?
word, stop. He
From
needs to remember what
horizontal.
he's saying.
Goodness.
So yeah, she rocks forward, kind of gazing distantly. It's easy to forget that people are people when you're killing them. When they wear armor and they shoot at you and try to kill you and your friends. But they're still people. And they still hate things and love things and they still feel too.
Saoirse's gonna just kind of blink for a little bit.
I don't think they're the enemy anymore.
Well, I surely hope we don't see a day where they are our enemy again. She's gonna look in her coffee mug and notice it's empty. But she is feeling much more awake now than she was like an hour ago or whenever they first started this. Um, she'll just say, "All right, well, Brother Nick, Cade, I'm going to need you to help me figure out what kind of plea or bargain to make to the Earllands when we meet up with this general or who's it or what's it in the Lowlands, because we've got to have our act together. Can't go in there acting the maggot, not knowing what we're saying or saying the wrong thing against one another. Can I get a draft from you, Brother Nick? Maybe while we're inbound?"
He'll nod, and he's also hoping to have one last word with our prisoners before we handed them over.
She looks at him for a moment, and then she's gonna look at. Then without looking at him, she'll just kind of speak loudly, sort of over her shoulder. "Amid,
Yes. And he walk closer.
She kind of chuckles a little bit, thinking, okay, he's been definitely able to hear all this.
Especially Nero.
All right, earwigging again. All right. Question: how far are we from our destination?
I don't know where we're going exactly. No, we could fly down this mountain in quite a
I'm
short
sorry,
time.
just real quick, out of character. Did we not have coordinates or anything like that?
Not specific coordinates,
Okay.
but the resistance people told you that they would likely be down at the lowlands at the base of the mountain. But Ahmed would be about to say he thinks you could probably get down um, into those lower altitudes within an hour.
Saoirse looks at Brother Nick. I need a rough draft first. Get me that rough draft and you can talk to them as long as you want. So you've only got an hour. If you want, and she looks at her watch, I'll give you 15 minutes before we take off. See if you can put something together for me by then. Is that fair?
So, yeah, that sounds good.
Maybe you can take your rough draft to them. If it's good with me, then that could be used as a bargaining chip with them if you're making any kind of plea for them to cooperate. Show them that we're trying to help them in good faith. But without that bargaining plea, they're dead in the water as soon as we get there. I don't have the same skill you do when it comes to making these connections. And as much as I'm sure they appreciate your prayers, I think they might appreciate your actions here as well. For the living, as well as the dead. She'll glance over at the graves.
I think my biggest concern is that it is more typical to use prisoners like this as less of a bargaining chip and more of a hostage. Especially when they're desperate. I don't know them as well as you all, but it is a risk.
Saoirse looks at him. I'll be completely honest. At the end of the day, I value the lives of this planet above the lives of a few radical people who are bent on murdering so many innocents. So I say we make our case, but at the end of the day, it's up to the Eorlans. I'm not sticking my neck out for people who are willing to murder an entire planet. Not farther
Fair.
than I already am, she says loudly. In case you're earwigging again. She looks over her shoulder at Ahmed with kind of a wink. I'm willing to make this case, but I don't think we can push it too far. The Yarlans need to know that we are their allies, and if we go in their bleeding hearts for the enemy, especially once we tell them what they were carrying, I don't think it'll work.
Suppose we can hope that they will be merciful. But it is not as likely as what I expect.
what if they meant to drop the monsters and then like fight the monsters, the aliens? I mean,
Saoirse looks at Nero.
By the hero.
what?
Well, it's just that's a lot smarter than I expected it to be. No offense. Just
Kid
actually
looks
think that
confused for a moment by the thought that releasing the monsters and playing the hero would work, but
so think about it. Do they really want an entire planet overrun by aliens, all of its resources lost? They want the Eurolan resources. They want Eurolan loyalty. What better way to show Tabukin's superiority than faking being a savior? Or she goes to sip from her coffee mug before realizing it's empty again. So she has a thoughtful look on her face and then she puts it down. Could have been trying to frame it on the Eurolans. Think about it, their people didn't know anything about these weapons. She nods at Tom, choosing her words wisely. If they were discovered on Yorola, they could have said, look at the terrible Maltech that Eurolans have been working on in secret. We're really saving Yorola from itself. I don't know. Not sure, but fair play either way.
GM, would I have a clue as Cade as to what they may have been trying to do with the aliens? I'm not sure if the battle plan would have been included with what we got.
Um, that's a good question. It definitely would not have been. You're talking about like plans of coordinating with the aliens, or you're just talking
Well,
about what
like,
their overall purpose was in dropping
yeah,
the aliens on. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
like knowing how the aliens were going to be used. Like, I'm not so sure that we would have known that.
Let's see. So give me. Hmm. Let's see. This is a tough question. I could see a skill check for Cade. This is going to be background related, and I think this would. He could potentially have gotten some clues that would help him piece this together from
On Detective Cade.
um, potentially from connections to the. Hmm, yeah, I'm trying to think how to do this because I don't want to just lay it out on the table. But I don't know how much. Well, tell me this.
Well,
What
like, what if there was
does
only a clue?
Yeah, so what does Cade remember about um and I'll ask this to the player and you can decide
Mhm.
however much of your player knowledge makes sense for the character to have. Um
Okay.
how much does would he have known or paid attention to the events from oh boy, let's see. This would have been a little while ago. How long ago did I decide that was?
How old is Cade?
Oh, that's actually a good question that goes
Hmm.
into that.
Hmm.
Let's start there actually while I look for this.
And just because he was if he were a kid when whatever the event is you're referring to, Ben, doesn't mean he wouldn't remember it. I mean, like I remember very clearly a lot of news clips around the time 9/11 was happening, and I was in elementary school.
Hmm.
So, not
I
to
think
to say that you weren't capable of remembering things.
Right. I mean, I know, like, just for me personally, memory can be really weird sometimes. Now,
Hmm.
you remember one random thing from ages ago, but something recent you can't even remember.
Hmm.
I'm kind of thinking that Cade would be in his mid to late 20s, old enough to have been out of college or university for a while and doing his thing independently.
27. That gives him 5 years out of college, right? If it's the classic 4-year university.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Let me see here then. I'm looking. I know I have written this down specifically in notes. Okay. Because I don't want to contradict things that I've sent, but I can't find where I sent it to Dex. I was pretty sure I sent you a timeline, didn't I? At some point?
Hmm.
Dex.
Did it
But
have to do when she was talking with
oh, actually, hold on.
Kareem?
What am I doing? I probably sent it to Robert if I sent it to anybody.
Oh, wait. I
Um,
feel dumb now. I think. Hang on.
yeah, there's definitely yeah, okay. Let
Yeah.
me. Did I
Let's
pin it
see.
before? No, I'm gonna pin it right now. Oh yeah, pin it.
Yeah, I was just scrolling back because I was realizing that's a while ago.
Yeah, that was last March that I sent you this message.
Gracious. It's been a year? Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, let's see. You actually joined us in February of last year, I think,
Aw, happy
or
anniversary.
2 months later.
Yeah.
February
Wow.
1st, actually.
I forgot about that. Okay, yeah, that does kind of mesh with what happened being when he was a kid.
Hmm. And so,
I feel like if it was in schools, he would have learned about it. Well, otherwise he would have had what his dad's discussions and opinions were just by
Mm.
like exposure.
Because his dad would have spoken about that stuff.
Oh, I'm sure he would have talked about it at some point. No, not like
yeah,
necessarily to Cade, but because his
it,
dad is like a noble. I feel
yeah,
like.
it definitely would have been brought up, because the history of Tabuk's like growing as an empire would definitely have featured in school and in um whatchamacallit it it would have been discussed in noble and political circles, because there's always been some back and forth tension about exactly how Tabuk should go about acquiring new planets, new systems, new vassals, what the nature of the relationship should be, all that kind of stuff, whether they've
Mhm.
gone far enough or they need to continue spreading, what the primary motivator is behind all that sort of stuff. Has
Yeah.
always been a prominent topic of debate and discussion. Um, so yeah, he would
Okay.
remember, he would know fairly well um, how badly Taiwan basically collapsed over this, because they were so reliant on this special technology to sustain their environment. He'd remember how
Right.
badly that all went and how it drug things out and how many people died before the, they were willing, before Tabuk was able to come in and help and salvage the situation and save what they could of the populace, um, kind of during and because it basically went straight from like tension and skirmishes and stuff like that to a severe humanitarian crisis planet wide that and everything pulled kind of a 180. Um,
In that case, I guess what I would be considering is, um, how would I draw that back to the current situation? Like,
hmm, yeah,
as a player, he's more of the activist archetype, and I feel like he wouldn't have accepted the official narrative.
And I was going to ask,
He's
does
too
But
woke for that.
if he's inclined towards being more cynical or potentially even conspiracy theorist, would he doubt the official history and records of all that? Um, would he have spent time trying, would some of his hacktivism be related to trying to dig into that specifically, or would it have been more related to other more current events and trying to advocate for? Because I don't remember if we've established clearly his primary motivator for doing the hacktivism.
we have not openly explained anything of his motivations.
Yeah, we just know he lost a bunch of friends to some drugs and that he has
Yeah.
daddy issues. That's pretty much it.
I think it would be worth. We don't necessarily need to do it right now. I think this might
Yeah.
be a good. Well, I don't know. We could do it now. It's up to you guys if you want to spend a little time.
I don't
fleshing
necessarily want to
Kate out a little
derail
bit.
the session. Like, we could come back to it at some point and talk about it if you guys want to, but like, I don't want to derail the session for it.
Depends on if you think this kind of what his prior knowledge might be, if this would influence any decisions coming up here before the end of the session, or influence discussion here.
I don't know. I had honestly forgotten about all of the stuff with Taiwan, and I guess part of what I would be considering is, would that concern Cade because Urala appears to have some sort of dependence on the filtration technology as well as the food technology, I guess. I don't know if that's dependence or not.
Yeah, let's see. So I think it could be I guess I was thinking that it would be helpful to decide what his primary motivator in his hacktivism was, because I think that would help me decide how likely it is for Cade to have come across,
Okay.
something in his backstory or in his background that would influence his understanding of current events and past events.
Sure. So I think that Cade's primary motivation for all of this started as a conspiracy theorist at first, but then once he got to college, he kind of leveled out a little bit, but still had the something's not quite right and something's rotten in the state of Tabuk feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And that the more he looked, the more indirection he saw and hand waving. No, everything is fine. Everybody agrees. We're all doing the right thing, etc. And so I think that it would have been largely a start as something like tinfoil hat, but he didn't stay there.
Yeah. I think then it's appropriate for him to make a connect check.
To connect the dots. Sorry, I wanted to do that.
Yeah, I think given I think that connect, kind of an interpersonal connecting, is the most appropriate way for him to have gotten some potentially useful information in his background that could potentially click at this point.
Oh man.
So, yeah, give me a connect
I
with
don't have
charisma.
Okay.
I can't watch.
Hey, he's got charisma. Just doesn't have.
No, I believe you. I just am like, it's the dice. The dice are fickle.
That's gonna need
Yeah?
a reroll.
Reroll.
Wow. Okay. That was an average roll, though, so I'm impressed.
How good of a conspiracy theorist are you?
Average?
I'm marginally better than average. Marginally better than average conspiracy theorist.
Okay.
Marginally.
That is a I'll consider that
Oh,
a partial
okay.
success. So what something that he would have uncovered um, in his time trying to dig into Tabuk's past and trying to figure out, find the roots, the rotten roots, as they were. He would have found a couple of claims uh, by Tabukan people whose word he at least would have considered uh, that the official the official history, the official record of what went down there was incomplete, and he would consider that to those sources to have been enough to be, I guess, what's the word? Not, I guess, solidified, but like
Like trustworthy.
confident in distrusting and disbelieving the official record. Uh, no need to just so it goes beyond just a mere suspicion, but he is confident that that record is incorrect and there was something that was either left out or changed.
Okay. So making this realization, Cade would then turn to Saoirse and say, I have vague memories from my childhood and from university, and possibly something maybe my father said to someone else um, about what
Kind of
happened to Taiwan.
just gonna raise an eyebrow at him. What do you
And I
mean?
don't know, well, I don't know, but I know enough that the more rocks I looked under and the more information I sought, the more there was a vague hole in the record. Something I couldn't piece together. I couldn't find any record or reference to, but there's something that happened to Taiwan. Something that Tabuk did, as far as I can tell. I just don't know what. It's listed as some sort of horrible planetary disaster. We all know that, but I am not so sure that it was all explained by a planetary disaster. There might have been something more involved.
Do you think Tabuk had something involved?
It's feasible. I couldn't tell you.
So they're willing to wreck a planet to say it's theirs.
They're at least willing to wreck a planet and make it look like it was a disaster to say it's theirs. If caught, I don't know what they would do. I guess what I'm saying is that we can't assume that Tabuk would just be ignoring the result of what happens with the aliens. No ship shows up, no aliens attack on the planet. They know, even if they didn't receive word from home, they know something happened. I don't know their contingency plans. But if they were willing to either commit genocide or make it look like they were the heroes by pretending to commit it, something isn't right.
She's just going to look a little horrified for a second as it sinks in that they really were willing to, I guess, let it all down the drain. All right, so she's gonna take a deep breath, and then she'll look at Brother Nick and at Narrow. I'm not entirely sure what they had planned with Tom's people, but I think we're better off not thinking about it too much at the moment. We've got more important things we need to worry about. Right, Brother Nick? Just maybe more pressing things. Not to say more important.
Yeah. Or he'll look up from his data slab where he'd been working on that ideas for you. Say, indeed. Oh, it does a box thing. Okay. Don't know how to do that.
All right. Thank you for the information. She'll kind of nod at Cade. It's a lot to think on. We've got a lot to do. We can't afford to be banjacks thinking about what or what not Tabukan might do. So we need to make sure that we're ready to go, get down into the lowlands and speak with our General Caldwell. Does Brother Nick show her the draft message yet, or is he just still working
I
on
put
it?
it in the session chat.
Mm. I guess I meant in character. Did he like send it to her on her compad, or
Oh yeah.
just
so
hand her the tablet for her to read it there, or what?
Yeah, so he can put it out, I guess, shared drive kind of deal.
All right, as her compad pings, she'll by the way, were the graves already covered? Did we decide, or did they still need to be covered?
No,
I think we're
if they
doing
needed to be covered, Nara would have been doing this while you guys were talking.
Okay, cool. So Saoirse finishes placing the last stone cairn together, and then pulls out her compad to read the rough draft Brother Nick has sent. As she gets in a little bit, she'll put a hand up and then start motioning to everyone there. All right, well, we need to get moving into the ship and get a move on. Ahmed, did you want a moment? Ben?
Oh, sorry.
She was asking Ahmed if he wanted another moment before he went into the ship.
He says, "No, that's fine." He gives them one last glance and then heads back up the ramp.
All right.
All right, so
It's a nice letter.
preparing for takeoff.
Yeah.
is there-
Nero goes and takes the mandated shower. Trying to decide if she puts the dirty clothes back on though.
Saoirse had complained about them being manky, so
Okay.
in
okay.
her words. So probably I think Nero would have understood that to mean you smell bad.
I think she could probably connect the being covered in dirt and sweat to the dirty clothes.
Yeah, it's that's not the problem. It's more of a And she doesn't like being dirty and sweaty and smelly. It's more of a, are those still wearable? No, not anymore.
Right. Yeah, I got you.
Oh, I should probably paste this message for our audience, so they're not wondering about.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
I wrote it, but it's about to get obliterated with
Yep.
that paste. Saoirse took a picture of the graves with her compad, and she's going to note down the coordinates of where they are to share with the families of the deceased if she ever gets the chance in the future.
Oh goodness, it's gonna take it forever.
I'll scroll.
Sidebar.
Yeah, I was going to say Dex can scroll. It's not. It actually is barely more than the bar on
Yeah.
mine.
Just barely.
Read it and weep, audience.
Now I got a speed run through our Sons of Glory talk.
Yep. Got 25 minutes.
What Sons of Glory talk are we
He
having?
wanted to speak to the Sons of Glory,
Okay, yeah, I was
the prisoners, before they.
right. I was gonna ask, do you want to role play all that out with each of them,
Oh, I
or
was gonna write it for some shorthand,
okay?
and then
Um,
do the skill challenge thing like we did last time, if you were wanting to.
okay. Um, yeah, I was thinking. I hadn't really decided exactly how I wanted to handle it differently than before. I definitely didn't want to repeat the same way as before, because I think that drug on way too long. I think that the effort that Brother Nick and others put into the funeral and arranging some choices that were made about how to involve the prisoners in it, I think that will serve as essentially part of a skill challenge. Um, um, as far as having more conversation with them, I would probably lean towards just summarizing or at least giving the highlights of how that conversation would go for the Nick. Um, so he is trying once more to basically convince them to turn and help the Uralans slash your crew.
I think that was a question.
Oh, sorry, I was typing away.
Okay, I got you.
Uh,
So
yeah, I could try and summarize it. I've been working on similar little message blurb.
okay, yeah, and I think typing it out would be fine too. I don't want to hold us up waiting on it necessarily, and I think the time that we've spent this session so far it applies to the same goal, at least loosely. So I'm inclined to save us a little bit of interrogation time there.
It's okay. They're probably just gonna act like computer NPCs anyway. Interrogate them and you get the same answer 15 times.
That's what I should have just said. I should have said, sorry, looks like you've hit the end of their generated dialogue. Now you're just getting you're getting the getting the equivalent of a uh, this NPC has nothing more to say to you right now.
Lovely day, isn't it?
Yeah,
Basically.
yeah. It's like you talk to these NPCs and they'll say, "Did you need something?" But you're not given any way to respond and actually say anything.
Yeah.
That's just one of the stock responses. Yeah, and part of that is that in game it has not been all that long since the last session of attempted deprogramming on the prisoners.
Exactly.
In fact, let's see. I want to say that it was, well, it was definitely less than a week. Uh, and a week was kind of the smallest interval of time that I was wanting to consider doing another big, like, focused attempt at deprogramming. Right, so let's see. Maybe we can do this. We can go ahead and gloss over that for now, and we can revisit. Can have summary or typed out whatever the conversation was, and I think we should be able to move forward without touching anything that would be impacted by the results of that conversation. Does that seem fine to everybody?
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
okay with
so.
that.
Because then,
Okay.
that gets to be done justice, I think.
Yeah, because I don't want to rush you, Ethan, but also don't want us to be held up waiting on it. So the Ahmed takes the pilot's seat and prepares to take off. Uh, mission dampeners running, and to make your way slowly down the mountainside through the various peaks and valleys that will weave your way lower and lower in elevation until you reach the lowest lands, where
I thought your
it's
voice was dropping as we dropped in altitude. I was like, what did happen?
the lowest lands where the general and his army are.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, keep that up. Keep that up.
Yeah, where's my voice filter so I can go drop an octave here?
Oh, my.
Um, uh, where you're suspecting that the general and his contingent have fled to hide out. And as you go, at what point are you guys wanting to try contacting the resistance? And you have basically channel and encryption information to use with a comm server, um, that you expect could be picked up by them within a relatively uh, small radius. Do you want to basically do some sweeps uh, and try to broadcast that in that small area as once you get down there?
I think that makes sense, unless anybody else has an idea about how they'd want to go through doing that.
Any of our
Yeah, unless we're gonna
characters Oh, sorry. Good, Robert.
I was gonna say that unless we're adding like some other layer of code on it, Brother Nick style, then we should probably just try it.
And I was just gonna say, do any of our characters have reason to know actual search patterns?
Sure.
Oh, maybe
Not Cade.
Saoirse with military service and survive.
Yeah.
Well, I guess survive, yes, but no, I think that's a Saoirse thing.
Yeah, especially if she was involved in search and rescue at all.
She was
Yeah.
on
Oh, yeah.
the. Yeah. She was a field medic, so they would have been involved in that. Ben, is there any way that I could roll for Saoirse's background knowledge to
Yeah,
do that the best you can?
yeah. Give me that. That might speed up your search a bit.
I just read your Neo Harmony showers, dresses in clean clothes, and is climbing on the counter in just over 5 minutes.
I can't
Oh, my
imagine
word.
her taking long showers.
Oh my word.
Mhm.
This is like that TikTok about the guy's kid who's like, Dad, I'm done. He's like, we've been in there for 3 minutes. And he's like, yeah, I'm all clean. And he just like, the dad's shaking his head and he picks up a washcloth. And he's like, what's that? What are you doing? And he like wipes his face and then he shows him the washcloth and there's just like a black streak on the washcloth. And he's like,
Typical child.
He's like, get back in there. Look, you're not thoroughly clean at all. And he's like, oh, well, I meant I was just done with like my legs. And it's just, you're trying to make excuses. Just like, I still got to work on the upper part there. And he's like, yeah,
Nice.
whatever. But anyway, what was I gonna say? Okay, so what kind of check would it be? Survive check or no? Sorry.
Yeah, survive would be good
Okay.
with wisdom.
Whoop, nope. It ain't there.
Oh,
Unless it was a low check.
Nope.
Didn't think so.
Yeah, her experience is not
Not
bringing to
similar
mind
to
any,
Uralin.
not bringing to mind any applicable wisdom for this scenario.
Wow.
Yeah, right. Tough.
That is a low roll.
Ain't it though? That's why I was
That
nervous
bites.
earlier.
Yeah.
The dice can be fickle.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, they can. All right, so how would Saoirse go about instructing Ahmed to search them? Would she basically tell him to do what seems good to him, or does she try to go ahead and give him a pattern of some kind anyway? You don't need to get specific, but
I think she actually would have asked him if he had any recommendations on how to go about it.
okay. He would just sort of
If he
he
doesn't
would
have
not
any
have much to say,
recommendations,
no.
then she'll ask him to sweep and send
Yeah,
out the encrypted message and see if they can get anyone to pick it up.
yeah, he would pretty much say he doesn't know much better to do than just try to make a few passes back and forth over the
Yeah.
area. He will
Well,
say he thinks he can maybe roughly estimate how far they'd have traveled in the time it's been since they had been in the city, but that's going to be a ballpark because he doesn't really know the terrain well.
yeah. Hey guys, you
So
want to move
yeah,
your tokens back to wherever?
yes.
Okay.
so yeah, he'll start that sweeping.
While he's doing that and Saoirse's watching over his shoulder, she'll just kind of think back to when she was on search and rescue teams and how she kind of wishes she'd pay more attention to what the people who were in charge of finding the people were. She remembers distinctly one of her fellow soldiers trying to teach her, and her being a little derisive and just saying, like, that's not my job, basically. Like, she's like,
Mhm.
listen, you find them and I'll patch them up.
Okay.
And if we each do our job, we'll be just fine. Now she's regretting that deeply.
Yeah. All right then. So yeah, the search commences, and
Oh man.
okay, it begins just he's flying the ship back and across in a fairly large area, trying to go slowly to make sure that um, there's enough time for both transmission and receiving a potential response before moving on from an area.
I think Ben is saying we don't want to get gunned down. I think that's accurate.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's accurate.
and you're also you're flying pretty close to make sure that your broadcast doesn't go far in case uh, someone undesirable happened to be in the area and pick up the fact that their transmission's going out, even though they would not be able to decipher them.
I thought the only undesirable person in the area was Cade.
Oh, and it's back.
Um,
Hair on fire still.
That's what Saoirse would say to Ahmed if he said something like that. And she just says it like flippantly, like just doesn't, doesn't even think about it. Like it just pops out.
mhm. So yeah, several hours pass with no response having been received.
Shoot.
And Ahmed is intensely focused on his flying and making sure to avoid obstacles in the.
Saoirse's gonna tell him to keep up the good work, and then she's gonna lean over to the comms and call up Cade, tell him she needs him up there.
Okay, kid will hit his control panel and get out of there and go up to the cockpit where Saoirse and Ahmed are working. What's up, Captain?
She's making a mental note that that's probably better than boss. And she's just gonna say, listen, Ahmed's up here effing and blinding trying to find these people. We're not having any luck. I need you to get your drone. I need you to get us some more eyes out there. Is that possible? Or do we need to land?
It has a 100-kilometer range. I should be able to do something.
Great.
It doesn't
would-
have a strong transmitter, though.
Yeah, he would know that like visually, it's not going to be able to help find anything with the conditions of the just severely foggy atmosphere
Yeah.
down around here.
You don't even think she'd help her gander out there?
Not from what I'm seeing of the weather from the sensors. I think there's too much fog for it to be useful.
didn't think getting the call out would be this murder. She's just gonna like start rubbing in between her eyes and just like you can see she's like deep in thought, but also very vexed. um and then she'll look at him and go, "Listen, I'm not trying to be a moron. I need you to tell me if you have any ideas on what to do next, because this wasn't exactly my wheelhouse."
Well, I don't know how to run a search pattern, but my guess is if they're underground, then they can only receive transmissions certain times of day, but also they may suspect it's a trap. So maybe we want to add something more personal to the note, like maybe Reese sends his regards.
But Boris, you old wanker, get out here.
Or that. That's personal.
About
Ahmed
as
does
personal
speak
as I
up.
can be right now.
It's possible that we may not have passed close enough to them yet. That I'm not very certain about how far they could have traveled, so I was searching a fairly large area.
Ugh.
But we could try changing things up.
She looks at him and just, says, "I'm not meaning to eat the head off you. You're doing fine. I'm just getting impatient." She looks at Cade. "What do you think we keep on? I'll try changing things up."
I think we should keep trying for a little bit longer and definitely switch to insulting Boris a bit.
Now you're talking.
Not only does he deserve it, at least it'll say it's probably not somebody from Taluk.
The old fella's not a full shilling, that's for sure. And then she's gonna like sit down with her compad and start editing the message they've been sending out.
So what's the little tidbit that you add for Boris?
Probably your mother was a hamster.
She'll put, "Hey Boris, ye old fella, quit hiding and get out here. Get your sorry puss out here."
Okay.
In typical Saoirse niceties.
Mm. Okay. Well, several more hours pass, but at long last, you do finally get a response on the same channel. And you're able to trace back the point of origin generally, although it does seem distorted somehow. And the response is brief. Just message received, but we'll need you to come to us. Don't waste any time.
She'll and we
Should
can trace it
probably
back to where
call
they
him
are.
a cadre.
Hmm?
Sorry, what were you saying, Robert?
Oh, I would just say we should probably say something like, of course you would say that you were cadre, but you know.
She'll just respond, "Took you long enough, on our way."
Okay.
And then she'll go over the louds. She'll ask Ahmed to
chart how long it would take them to get there.
Okay. Let's
And then
see.
she'll put over the intercom that contact's been made. She'll actually she'll start to go to do it, and then she'll look at Cade. Listen, I'm a bit bunk off right now, and if you could just go ahead and let everyone know, that'd be great, because I'm afraid of acting the maggotator on the comms there. I don't think anyone will understand me when I'm this banjaxed.
And Ahmed says it'll just be 15 minutes.
Okay,
She looks at Cade.
we'll take a moment and go, okay, I think I got that. And hit the comms button and say, seems like we've found them. Should see them in, or be there in 15 minutes. Everybody get ready just in case. And he'll just kind of shrug and look kind of at Saoirse with the question in his eyes.
She'll nod approvingly, like that was good.
And then you'll shut the comm off.
That was grand. Thanks. And then
You're
she'll
welcome.
tell Ahmed that she'll be back in like 12 minutes. And then she's gonna go and try and get cleaned up and presentable.
Okay.
I'm able to reroll with my diplomacy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, reroll me 1d6 there. All right. That's more like it.
Oof.
Went from an 8 to a 13.
About a three-eyed snake eyes.
Yeah. Okay. So that was just to measure the effectiveness of Brother Nick's little come to Jesus talk with the Tabukan prisoners.
Wow.
And seems like it was received well relative to each one's disposition, about as well as Brother Nick expects it could have gone. All right, so Ahmed is piloting the ship down, and as he's nearing the area that the transmission apparently came from, he gets kind of a confused look on his face, and he looks over. I guess, is Cade there, operating the?
Oh, also, Saoirse was
Yeah,
trying to
probably.
hurry, so she would have been taking maybe 10 minutes when he had said it was going to be 15. And that's
Okay.
still up to you if she's back or not when this happens. But
Yeah, she would be back.
okay. So we'll say she's walking up when he looks over at Cade.
Okay.
I think
What's going on?
Nero might have
Oh.
also gone to the bridge now that we've been given this 15-minute warning
Mm-hmm.
to do pilot observational thingies.
Okay. So yeah, Ahmed gets kind of a confused look and looks over to Cade. Are you seeing anything? We should have seen something by now. As you're, just maybe a couple hundred feet off the ground, the visual, the fog is still fairly dense, but you can just make out some bare features of the ground, some trees.
Okay. When Cade's looking at the um sensors, what does he see?
He sees he sees no indication of buildings or vehicles or um, even people. But he definitely,
Okay.
even given the interference of the thickness of the atmosphere and also visually, would have expected to see something. Uh,
Okay. No, I don't see anything either.
and he he goes ahead and continues. Maybe we're just not. Maybe I was a little off, and
That's the
starts
problem.
to starts to hover a bit eh, off in a little distance away, and suddenly the fog just dissipates in a pretty large area, including up to the height of the ship,
Oh,
and a small outpost basically materializes where there was only scattered trees and bare ground before.
That's impressive. Uh, with Saoirse's meta psionics, is she detecting any kind of psionic work there, or is this all technology?
She doesn't detect anything psionic, and this small outpost basically looks like it consists of like a tower that's got
Mm-hmm.
some sort of stuff on top. Looks like it could probably be communications type uh, equipment, and there's a low, broad building that looks set up as a landing pad
Mm-hmm.
with like a relatively low wall that surrounds the small pair of buildings, and it all looks very much pre-tech, and it is
hmm.
like pristine looking. It even
Yay,
gleams a
more
bit
pre-tech.
in the light.
Sorry, I'm not as up to speed with Stars Without Number lingo, but pre-tech is pre-scream, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
very slick looking
big deal.
architecture. Um,
Saoirse leans over to Nero. I wonder if this has anything more to do with their lizard man. Do you think you'll have to prick more of your blood? She's like looking down at her arms.
Did she say lizard man?
Yeah, didn't they
yeah,
have some kind of worship to lizard people? Like in their fancy temple where we like had to get
yeah,
free
Oh,
food?
yeah. There were definitely like lizard people motifs and stuff in some of the
yeah.
imagery around
Like
the
from their like
Vafoxen people.
yeah.
Hmm.
Nair
I'm surprised
looks.
y'all didn't remember that.
I did forget
I
that. Yeah,
forgot.
yeah. Nair looks at
Yeah.
Saoirse, looks back over at the the shiny tech. You think all their food stuff is from before?
No, no, no. Just the technology to make it. When we were there, I couldn't sense any. Well, I think it's pre-tech stuff, and it seems to be pretty closely connected to this ancient religion of theirs.
Nair starts looking excited. I wonder if they have a wind cutter.
um, a
And end
connection.
session, it's not getting any better than that. So pack it up, boys. We're going home.
Just gonna say a connection comes in on the comms. Voice comes through the speakers. You gonna land or what?
Hi, there you are, you old codger.
Yeah, I'm here. Enough with the pleasantries and get landed already.
All right.
We got no time to waste.
Says the man who made us wait how many hours? But she's obviously like wanting Ahmed to land.
Yeah, he's looking just as surprised as everyone else, and goes ahead though, and pilots the ship down for a landing. And yeah, you settle down on the landing pad, and the last message before the connection cuts off is, yeah, come on down into the building below. I'll meet you there.
You and what friends?
Just a couple. I'll take you to see Caldwell, though. I assume you're here with good news for him.
We'll call it a mixed bag, but yes, there is good news.
Hmm. Well, that's about all I could have expected.
All right, so they cut comms. And then Saoirse remembers something very important. Tom still looks like Tom right now, and not human Tom.
Yes, he does. And that's a problem for
Yeah.
next session. A good thing to bring up, though, in the out of character planning for next time to
Yeah.
decide
I
what
think
exactly
basically
to do.
Saoirse would ask him to allow her to change him into a human form.
Okay. Well, that can be done. Just add that to the list for next
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you for humoring me with a little bit of suspense and awe.
That was such a good session. Also, I thought we were going to get blown out of the sky for like a solid minute there when it was like, where are they? Like they should be
Yeah.
here. I was like, it was a trap. Great.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was hoping for.
It was really good suspense. You did it really well.
I try. Sometimes it feels too contrived and like it's like, okay, babe, get on with it. We know what you're doing. But,
No. It was really good. Did not feel contrived.
cool. All right, well, on to faves then.
I'm going last, y'all, because we don't need a recap. So y'all go ahead and then I'll copy and paste one of yours.
Yeah, so Avery, something we do at the end of every session is I get everyone to give me some relatively brief, to varying degrees, 1 to,
Text.
I guess, 3 is as many as we've had, things that were their favorite things for the session. Sometimes there's not much to pick from, but it helps me get a sense for what the party is enjoying.
Oh, this was for you this whole time?
Wow.
I
I
thought it was just
mean,
for us to like pat ourselves on the back and feel good about,
yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
it's
some.
that too. It has more than one purpose.
It's also that. It's also for you.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are allowed to have fun too, I guess. That is also allowed.
Ben's like, it's my toy room and it's my rules, okay?
Uh,
Wow.
Ethan or Robert, either you want to go first?
I have to make you guys play rock, paper, scissors to see who has to give the fave first.
Some pull straws.
All right, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by the toe. If you always make pay $50 every day, my mom told me to pick the very best one. And you are
Let's
not.
go with like whoever started second last time. That way you can always rotate and it's always somebody new first.
That's a good idea, but
But you've already
we'll do
done the
that next
eeny, meeny,
time.
miny, mo. I get it.
Exactly, and I also don't remember who went second last time, so
I might have gone first last time, but I
I don't
don't
know
know.
if I don't know if I can trust the party not to
Oh,
fudge it a
right.
little
You
bit.
don't do them in order of when we say. You've got your own ordering. Okay, that's not
Well,
as good as I thought.
I mean, it's not my own ordering. It's just like regular alphabetical ordering.
I mean, if you want to call it that, sure.
Nick has his own proprietary method he likes to call
Yes,
the
my
alphabet.
my secret my secret alphabetical method.
Oh my dear. All right,
All right.
move on.
I've decided on Ethan with the meeny miny mo method. Sorry.
Well, that's good. I enjoyed the Brother Nick and Nero talk from beyond,
Bonding time.
yeah, bouncing the ball, burying bodies.
It did
You
take
know,
that
just
path,
good old,
didn't it?
good old grandpa bonding time.
From bouncing ball to buried bodies.
That needs to go in quotes.
Even got good alliteration.
Yeah, I definitely appreciated the alliteration and made sure to record that. I think that's a great session title, actually.
All right. I'll
There you
take it.
go.
Should it include the from, or is it just bouncing balls to burying bodies?
That's a good question. I'll leave that up to your judgment.
If I had good judgment, I wouldn't have asked anyone.
That's fair. I'll let you know what I think.
I vote from. Include it.
I think it encapsulates it better.
All right, for now, Dex gets to go second.
Okay. Well,
You should put that in the Roll20 chat.
oh no. I know we've been trying not to have multiple faves. Trying.
Nah.
But
That's called Danielle's effort.
I really enjoyed the Ahmed noping out.
Yes. Yeah. They just slowly backed up.
In and out now.
What's the plan for today? Well, I'm out, guys. Later.
Proceeds to have head removed by Saoirse.
I don't think she. Anyway, I don't think she had really directed that at them at the time, but it was fine. Oh man.
But I also really liked the spin, the flavor on Brother Nick's prayer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that whole part was good. That whole thing was good, but the prayer was great.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought so too. All right. Robert.
Well, I was trying to think back through this session, and
I know
pick out a
thinking's
little
hard for you.
something different.
Oh,
Okay, now let's keep it in
Hey, now
character,
keep it to
people.
the session.
That's right. That's right. I'm sorry. I started getting warmed up right at the end. The
I
first
know.
half had been on coffee truce. Cade and I decided out of character. Sorry, Robert and I decided out of character that Cade. Wow, guys, I'm sorry, I can't talk. That Cade and Saoirse, if they had any kind of time of day where they were not bickering, it would be coffee time.
Nice.
Yeah.
great.
So they have
I-
a coffee. They have a coffee truce.
Yeah, I think my favorite would have to be the additional development of the relationship between Saoirse and Cade, as well as actually having some like deeper background questions asked about Cade that
Yeah.
haven't really come up in play at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea of like, why did Cade join the resistance? Why did he become a hacktivist? Those are actually questions that I'm sure as time goes on, his crewmates are going to be going, why would you do this? Like, why have you, you had a cushy life. What's going on? Like, why, and
Yeah.
I think it's the fact that it kind of came up organically is just, it was so good.
Yeah. This was a good character exploration session.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because you never know how much character backstory you're going to need, and I feel like that tends to happen with me too. Is I will give it a framework and I'll give it just enough flesh on the bones, and then it's not uncommon for things to come up where like, oh, I need to add some more
Think,
meat here.
yeah, yep.
All
That's
right,
when I
babe.
go, Dex, help! Quick, I have to come up with character motivations. Can you believe this crap? No, I'm kidding.
Money.
Money.
Easy.
No. Okay. So
Right, so
what
what about
was
you, babe?
I know. I don't. Well, that derailed me a little bit. Thanks,
Okay,
Ethan.
yeah, sorry.
Uh, why are
Envisioning
you with
the Michael Toby dynamic as the Saoirse Cade dynamic is just
Oh my
kind
word.
of funny. I think that's maybe a little too extreme, but
Yeah, it's too
Yeah, it
extreme, but
is.
I am imagining Cade asking Saoirse that at some point.
if I had
Why are
2
you the way
bullets
that
in a
you
room
are?
with Hitler and Toby, I'd shoot Toby twice. It was like Hitler, Toby, and somebody else. Uh,
Oh my word. Oh no.
uh,
Okay, anyway, my favorite
anyway,
of this session, there were a lot of good situations. Let me just think out loud here for a little bit. I did really enjoy exploring the dynamic between Saoirse and Cade, getting to
I'm
role
gonna,
play some of I
I'm gonna
just
wait
think,
until you officially pick a favorite.
yeah, I think my favorite overall, though, for real, was just the excellent role playing throughout. I really did appreciate I just appreciate that the longer this game goes, the more comfortable everyone is getting with, having conversations in character about what would these characters want to do? What would they think to do? Um, and I am glad that we're able to like roll for things to keep things moving, but it just kind of leads for a richness, I guess. It's kind of like the difference when you're reading a book and the author tells you something like this person had a tragic backstory versus finding out in a moment where that character has dialogue and you get to hear it in the character's words for themselves, like just a piece of their background. So it's just felt like the game itself is richer with every session because the role play is there.
Oh,
So I felt like tonight especially, the role playing was spot on. I mean, like Ethan's last rites were amazing. Um, narrow being narrow, but also being a considerate person. Um, Saoirse trying to step up and be a captain while wearing overly baggy stolen clothes from Narrow. Cade
sweats.
curbing his
Yeah.
sass during coffee time. Just like it was all it all just went together so well. So I just have to say role play. And I know that might sound like a cop out answer, but I think that's it. Also,
Woo, roleplay.
Fair.
also, which one of us gets to be Michael Scott? For Michael Scott and
Yeah,
Toby.
gets to be, and I
Yeah, I was
guess
gonna say,
that's
do we both go not it? Whoever gets it first.
say depends on how you compare him and Toby in terms
Well,
of
Toby gets gone real fast in the series. Michael Scott sticks around.
he gets the short end of the stick as far as screen time, that's for sure. It may not be a bad thing.
In a show
Anyway,
about dysfunctional office relationships, probably not a bad thing for him.
yeah, just whew, just his poor, like sad, always sad face. Like, what did I ever do to you to deserve this? Like, just being HR is all it takes. Um, Well, anyway, so was that it, Danielle? You
Yeah,
picked
just
the one
roleplay.
favorite? Okay.
Yep. I'm done. Mic drop.
All right. Mic
I
drop.
too can be a normal person sometimes if I put my mind to it.
um, I uh, I'm I'm gonna say that one of my favorite things was Ethan's thorough writing.
Hmm.
Because he did quite a bit of writing for tonight's session that
Yeah.
I guess he potentially could have written it all tonight, but I got the feeling he had written some of it beforehand.
Hmm.
It's hard to say for sure, but
He might just be really good at writing at the last minute.
yeah, I mean that's crunch time is powerful. But anyway, I appreciated that. That sort of thing really helps uh, push things along. It gives me a lot to work with. Um, and I'd say as far as in character stuff, um, it was kind of a close thing.
All of your NPCs were really good this session, Ben.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks. Um, I I definitely I'll just say, yeah, I guess as a side note that I'm really enjoying. I feel like the NPCs are having more meaningful ways to interact with the crew. That makes provides more role playing opportunities for you guys and feels less like they're just kind of chilling in the wings uh, until it's time for them to step up and do something.
Hmm.
Um, and actually, there was some interaction that I didn't get to cover, but that's okay. That'll get
Yeah, I
revealed
saw
another time.
Victor and Tom chilling together
Mm-hmm.
at one point, and I was like, I got my eye on that. Don't think I don't notice.
Observant. Well, maybe keep an eye on those too.
I'm
Um,
always watching.
Hmm.
Mike
uh,
Wazowski.
yeah. Well,
Oh man.
I I think the uh, I think the graveside chat gets my other favorite for like an in character thing that happened. Well, although the
Yeah.
writing, Ethan's writing is technically in character. Um, but yeah, pulling the group together and discussing basically, hey, are we actually cool with trying to get these people something other than the death penalty, or
Yeah.
um, how do we feel about trying to, and in some mild way, even advocate for them, uh, and getting each character's take on that was a really neat thing, and that's one of the things that I love about putting the party in these crazy situations. You have to make some crazy decisions and try to
Mm,
do them from the perspective of these characters, given all the stuff they've been through, and
yeah.
uh, so that was fun, and I think it'll be neat to see how that plays out in the I think next session, hopefully. Um,
Yeah. Finally get to see Boris. And I'll be very interested to see how we get to interact with him as an NPC now versus before when we interacted with him and it was basically just Boris, fix this. Boris, do that. Boris, be our sugar
Boris,
daddy.
what are we
Boris,
supposed to do? Where are we supposed to go?
tell us what to
Hey,
do.
can you talk to the NPCs for us, Boris? Get our quest hooks for us, Boris.
Yeah. Sugar daddy Boris, we need you.
Yeah,
So this will be I
bridge the
feel
gap.
like it'll get better. So
Yeah, I think so too. Now you guys have had time to come into your own as a group dynamic, a crew dynamic.
yeah. Now we just gotta get matching jackets. LOL though. Can we pay an artist to draw that for us, please?
To draw what?
Oh man, like our crew in like
Oh,
matching jackets.
that would be
Oh,
cool.
or if Lost, please return to Saoirse, or like, please return to Brother Nick, and then like Brother Nick wearing a shirt that says I'm Brother. Have you seen those that people do? Oh man, let me see if I can
that
find one. People do it with all sorts of different like shows and things like that, where they'll be like, okay, who would be the responsible one that they would have to return them to? Let me see. I've lost return to shirts. Yeah. It's a play on this. I'm just gonna copy and paste this image into the chat real quick, just so you guys could see.
Thanks. Yeah, I guess I should say we'll consider the session officially concluded. A good bit late, but we'll stick around and chat for a bit. So if anybody needs to, if lost return to Jan, I am Jan.
I think I've
Oh,
seen that before.
It's such a great old couple thing, like. Poor old senile man, like, yeah, I'm just along for the ride. Jan knows what's going on.
Oh my word. Okay. All right. This is just really fun for me. So you guys tell me if this gets old. I'm going to put a shirt up here and you tell me which crew member would have a shirt with this on it. All right, you ready?
Okay.
Okay. Who would wear this shirt? Oh no, it's the wrong one. Sorry. One second. Come on, quit. Copy image. Okay, there we go. Hopefully this works. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, looks like Saoirse to me.
It does.
Yeah, I think the tone definitely fits Saoirse. Potentially Cade.
Potentially Cade.
Cade's
Yeah.
would just be a cactus on the shirt.
Yeah,
LOL.
I think I go to Saoirse first on that one because I don't think Cade's would say free hugs on it at all.
Yeah, I got you.
Hers would just say, "Don't touch me."
Yeah, his would be a little more direct, maybe.
Oh no, I found his. Hold on.
You're not supposed to tell us if you want us to guess.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Though I think this one would be funny for him. Oh
It
man.
probably says daddy issues.
No, it doesn't say daddy issues. Hold on.
Hey guys, guess which character this one's for? It's daddy issues.
Okay.
Right. I have major daddy issues. Like one of those like really cutesy girly ones that's supposed to be
Oh
like,
no.
you
Those
know,
are
oh, spoil
terrible.
me. I just, you know.
The ones like from Suicide Squad.
I guess maybe, I don't
Oh,
know.
it was Daddy's Little Monster. It wasn't Daddy Issues.
Oh,
Never
okay,
mind.
but yeah, that kind of vein, like the cutesy, like, oh, I'm such a little walking disaster, and
The cringe.
all
The
daddy's
cringe is
fault.
real.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
All right. Did it send? No, it did
Not
not.
yet.
No.
Well,
Do.
sadly.
I guess so. Now
There
it
we
said
go.
twice.
Great.
We are a brainwashed generation.
Oh wow.
Oh, no, that is actually cool. I could definitely see like
I could see Cade wearing that hardcore, and you know
that's
it's true.
something he would wear lounging
Yeah.
in a scenario he's very comfortable in.
Yeah, probably hanging out in the med bay.
Yeah. Guess I was just gonna say, Avery got to listen in for most of the session tonight.
Oh, before we sorry to
Mhm.
interrupt you talking to Avery, but I don't know if Avery knows that we are actually recording and broadcasting, or Avery.
Yeah, I told him we were streaming.
Okay. And also, do you want to cut it, or do you want this conversation to be on stream? All right. Well,
I guess
Let's
we could
end
cut
it.
it. That's fair.
Yeah, I would say end it.
This
Good
is,
night, streamers.
this is behind the scenes conversating.
Thank you, random and mysteriously hidden viewers. I hope you enjoyed. Have a good night.
Yes, good night.